I've been a real estate agent for 26 years, and this year, 2024, has been insane in terms of the mass exodus out of Florida. I have never seen anything like it, and we all know the normal stuff of why people are leaving, but there are some things that I have not heard anyone talking about, and these are things that I'm noticing in the marketplace that I wanted to bring to you. Is the cost of living in line with the housing? Absolutely not. Are there affordable apartments out there so that you can live and work in the same city, or let's just even say within an hour of the same city? No and no. So we already know this. We know these things. We even know that there's a serious insurance crisis going on in Florida as a whole. But there are some things that people are not talking about that I think are worth mentioning, because listen, yes, I'm a real estate agent. Yes, I pay my bills and feed my family based upon this income. But here's the thing. I am not going to tell you something that is just blatantly false. So we're talking about it. We're talking about the things that are good, but we're talking about the things that are bad. And I take a little heat sometimes, because sometimes people will tell me, doom and gloom, Barrett, I'm saying all the bad things about Florida. But listen, I love Florida. I make a living in Florida. I love Florida, but the truth is the truth. And when these things are happening, you cannot pretend that they're not. Your best bet is to adjust to them. Do I think you should never move to Florida? No, that's ridiculous. But I think your timing has to be correct. Otherwise, you could grossly overpay or buy at the wrong time altogether. So let's talk about it. So as I just mentioned, there's definitely an insurance crisis going on right now. Now, there are 8 new companies that have been approved to try to come in and save the day, new insurance companies to provide insurance for folks that are having trouble getting insurance. But I think we can all probably make a good guess that the rates are going to be pretty darn high. I mean, when you're talking about last chance insurance type companies, they're usually not coming in and giving you these great deals. Who knows? I'm hopeful. Maybe. I certainly hope so. But let's be cautiously optimistic. So we know that that's going on. You know what else we know? We know that it's all over the news that they're saying the 2024 hurricane season is supposed to be the worst forecast that they've ever put out. There's supposed to be more named storms make landfall than has ever happened in the history of Florida. Maybe that's not quite it, but it sounded that bad. It sounded like a really bad prediction for the 2024 hurricane season, and we're right on it. We're right here. We're just right ahead of it. Now, if you were thinking about buying in Florida, that might be your tipping point to kind of say, you know what, I'm going to wait this out, because if a big storm makes landfall anywhere in Florida, Florida is a long, narrow state. It will affect the entire state of Florida. That's what happened when Ian came through. Did Ian hit catastrophically up in Orlando or Jacksonville or somewhere like that? No, it did not. But it affects the insurance as a whole. So the entire state of Florida lost many, many carriers. So right now, people are hanging on by a thread. What do you think's going to happen if another big storm like that comes through? And worse yet, if it comes around the way that it came around a couple of years ago with Hurricane Ian, and it's a flooding event as opposed to a wind event, there's going to be big problems. The Airbnb market is falling hard and fast. A lot of people bought with the purpose of renting. They wanted to turn a high ROI. Maybe they sold something up north and they did a 1031 exchange. They rolled it into another investment and they thought, how can I go wrong? It's Florida. Everybody wants to be in Florida. I'm a half a mile from the beach. I'm going to rent this thing like crazy. Well, now the Airbnb market is falling apart. Why is that? Well, because this thing that was going to be so great, it turned out for everyone around the people that live near an Airbnb not so great. Nobody wants to live next door to what feels like a hotel. If you buy in a community and you want to lay roots in a community, and this neighbor and that neighbor and this neighbor are all doing nightly rentals, that doesn't really give you a great sense of confidence in the value of your property. So as that started happening and people started buying at a rapid pace to do an Airbnb, it started on more of a micro level where little HOAs would say, no, you can't do that. They would eliminate the ability to do nightly or weekend rentals, and maybe it would go to weekly, which is almost unheard of now as well. Maybe then you'd go out to monthly, and now it's far more common to see 3 leases a year, minimum 30 days. So there are lease restrictions in place on a lot of these HOAs. A lot of people have ignored those. And what has started happening is it has devalued further the prices of homes. And you're going to see that come down the pike. Little by little, those homes are being put on the market because people cannot do the Airbnb anymore, because you're starting to see hefty fines if you try it. And the neighbors are telling on the folks that are trying to break the rules. Now, I'm going to go one step further with that. Let's say you bought a rental and you were okay. You thought, okay, I can rent once a month. The community has rules that says I can rent once a month. So 12 leases a year, minimum 30 days. I can make that work. So you bought something thinking that's what you're going to do from now on. Then the HOA has a meeting and they change the rules. All of a sudden, what your business plan was, it doesn't work anymore. All right, so you zigzag and you say, all right, I have people that are coming back to me anyway. Most people are staying through the entire season. They want to stay 3 months anyway. I can make this work. I'll use it for the time I want to use it. I'll rent it a couple times a year. That's okay. Well, add in the fact that insurance has gone up. Your condo association fees have gone up. You're required to have the engineer structure report and their special assessments, further increasing your fees. All of a sudden, your ROI is running in the negative. That is happening to a lot of people. So if you're in that position, you might say, you know what, that's it. I rented in season. I'm good. We're in the summer months now. This is our worst time of year to sell. This is the down season. When it's really hot up north where you live, that is our off season, because it is blazing, melting hot in Florida during this time of year. As we get to July and August, it is very hot and very buggy. So a lot of times people will either say, I'm going to have one more winter in my Florida home, or I'm going to go through this one more lease in my Florida home and then I'm going to get it on the market. So these things ring true to you. You were going to use your condo part of the year, you were going to use your home part of the year, and you were going to rent it the rest. And that's not working out for you, and you're done with it, you're tired of it, your insurance is too high, you don't want to go through another hurricane season. It was a near miss the last time and you had to put a roof on. It could have been a lot worse. You are ready to sell. Here's where the problem can come in. Number one, if the insurance company gets wind that your home is sitting there vacant for months on end, I'm going to tell you what, you'll be very lucky to not get dropped, especially with what's going on with insurance right now. So there's that. Then let's say, well, I'm okay. That's not a big deal. I have this place leased. Somebody who stayed a year ago, they're going to stay this year again. I've got it leased. I'm in good shape. But then you start calculating what your ROI looks like. And that is where the problem comes in with the condos especially. You're running negative ROI. Let's say worse yet, your insurance company doesn't even know that it's sitting there vacant, but they know, they have seen that same hurricane prediction season for 2024. They saw the same one you did. They're going to check on this stuff, and don't think they won't. Letters go out, and if your property is sitting vacant, and let's say you just kind of let that letter go to the side and you don't respond to it, and then you get damage, you're going to have a real serious problem getting paid on that damage. So that has happened to many people that just say, well, you know what, I'm going to pretend I didn't get that letter. If they don't get dropped and something happens, it's really, really difficult to see through a claim. So those three things culminate into one big problem that causes people to want to run out the door quickly. They can't rent and make a profit. The fees are going up. Special assessments are on the way. What they were renting for before, everybody is cutting rents right now. If you want to rent, it is a good time to rent because everybody is cutting rent. It's kind of a race to the bottom on that one. So if you're looking for a rental, it's a good time to do it. It's a good time to kind of bounce around and figure out what part of Florida you like, because if you're not massively particular on your rental, if you're just going to go stay somewhere for a month or so, I would suggest bouncing around to each little area of Florida. Stay in Naples, stay in Sarasota, bounce around, go up to the Panhandle, figure out what area you like, because this is affecting everyone. This crisis that's going on, and it just seems to be that most of the rentals are in condos. Most people that are buying rentals have bought condos, and most of those people are running negative ROI because the fees have gone up so high. So that's a big reason that so many people are leaving, because they know if they didn't get their engineer's report yet, so if your condo falls into the category of the age or the location that it's going to need that structural engineer's report, some people are getting hit with massive assessments. And by massive, I mean like maybe $8,000 or $10,000 per unit. And if you're on a budget, that's a crisis that's going on right now in Venice, Florida. If you're on a budget and you bought this cute little place before it blew up to be so popular, and you bought it for $80,000 and you're on a budget, and there is no way that you can increase your fee $400 a month, you're in big trouble. And as so many people are being affected by that and these properties are going on the market, it's reducing the price of everyone's unit. So it's one of those situations where I can't afford to stay, but I also can't figure out a way out. If you're an investor, your timing will be very important, because if you take all these things that I'm saying and you calculate the risk, watch the numbers, because we are definitely, I don't care what anybody says, we are in a slow free fall. I'm not saying boom, I'm saying a slow free fall. And right now we don't know where the basement is. Personally, I've been saying this for a while, I think the basement's going to hit in 2025. So I tell you these things not to be doom and gloom, but to get you prepared. If you're a seller, you have to be prepared. If you are a buyer, you have to be prepared. I feel like if we know these things, we can all make the best decisions for our personal life.